This is my wife, Colin. She's been through a lot recently, and we thought it'd be a great opportunity just to tell you what God has done in the midst of going through a storm, coming out on the other end, and what all God has done in our hearts and lives and continuing to do through this whole scenario.
Our adventure began when I was taking the girls to Addie, Ava, and Olivia, our 3 daughters, to Taco Bell, and we were getting an ultra healthy meal from there. And I remember the girls telling me their orders. I was getting ready to, we were going through the drive-thru, and they were telling me their orders. And I'm a nurse, and so I get orders kind of thrown at me all day long, and I can handle them and make them happen. And so already starting to feel very uneasy. I knew something was wrong right then, that I couldn't process what the girls were saying and for me to get the order out. So I talked to my doctor right away about it, and we decided I need to go ahead and have an MRI, which wasn't a big deal. I've had MRIs in the past because I've had headaches, migraines, since I was little. And so just another MRI, okay, we'll get through it. When I was actually in the MRI machine, which, just a side note about me, I don't like going in those machines. You're like on this flat board table, and they kind of strap you down, which is awful, and then they send you through this little round tube, and it always makes me feel very like the world's closing in on me or whatever. So because of that, Billy has to go in with me whenever I've had MRIs in the past.
Not through the tube, just outside of the MRI, not through the tube there.
Can you imagine how that would look? So they always let him get at the very end of the table, and he can hold my leg or hold my foot or whatever, and just for me to know that he's there, which is, it's such a help, I can't tell you. So an MRI machine, it's loud noises. Basically, the magnets make a really loud noise once they turn the machine on, and so you have to wear earplugs, or they let me put on headphones, which was awesome, and they said for me to choose what music I wanted to listen to while I was in there. Well, the only station or the only music that was Christian was Stephen Curtis Chapman. So I'm laying in there, and another really cool feature that this MRI had was like this little, they put this cage over my face, which is another whole thing that I don't like about MRIs. But they put the cage over my face, but they put a little mirror on the outside of it, so I could look into it, and I could see Billy at the very end of my feet. And so that was really cool, because every time I would look at him, he would make some ridiculous face at me, and then I would laugh. Yeah, like that. We're halfway through the MRI, and a song that Stephen Curtis Chapman sings, I was listening to that song, and I was looking at Billy, and he mouthed to me because I couldn't hear him. And he didn't know, by the way, he didn't know what song was playing at all, because he had little earplugs in. And I looked at him, he looked at me, and he mouthed, "You're beautiful, I love you, and we're gonna get through this. It's gonna be okay." And so when he mouthed that, and I was listening to the song in the background, it was like a perfect setting for, it actually could have been in a movie. I mean, it was very well, done, God. So I started crying, because at that moment I felt like this is different this time.
So this was on a Saturday that this took place, and so we had to wait until Monday for it to be read and for anything to know anything. And so on Monday, I'm going about my day, and Colin's going about her day. She was actually off that day from work and home, getting some stuff done around here.
Yeah, and alone, because the girls were in school and Billy was at work, and I got a phone call, and I noticed the number was my doctor's office, and she said, the nurse on the other line said, "Colin, there's really no good way for me to put this, so I'm just going to go ahead and tell you, you have a brain tumor." And I thought, wait a second, what? What did she just say to me? I couldn't all of a sudden process what she had said. So I was like, hold on, I have what? And she said, "You have a brain tumor, and I'm really sorry. And so I got off the phone with her. And of course, the very next thing, I knew I needed to get Billy home so I could tell him what the news I had just heard.
So I'm at church and I get a phone call, and she said, I need you to come home right away. And I walk through the door, and I remember kneeling down at the side of the table, and she just started crying and was like, I have a brain tumor. And I was like, I was in utter shock. And I just remember we cried and we prayed together, and we just told the Lord, that we trust him. Yeah. And Colin, I remember her saying, what are we gonna do? And I just remember saying, now's the opportunity for us to display what we've encouraged everybody else all along, what we've had to do in this ministry and working with people all throughout life. Whenever tough times come, whenever difficult situations come, it's when we got to lean on Jesus, and we got to ask for his help, and we've got to know that he's going to be there no matter what. And so that's what we set out to do.
That's right. And it really wasn't for us a time to fall apart, really. I mean, we had that one moment where we cried, we prayed, but then after that, we were 100% determined. This is not going to be a time where woe is me, life is so hard, why me? I never, not one time, asked that question. It was, why not me? We all knew God had a plan, and it was an opportunity to minister to others and an opportunity to worship the Lord through it. And worship has been such a huge part of my life, of Billy's life. It's like whenever you want to talk to God and you don't even know what to say or how to say it, putting worship music on and worshiping him is a way to communicate with God. A psalm that meant so much to us, Psalm 91:14. The Lord says, I will rescue those who love me. I will protect those who trust in my name. When they call on me, I will answer. I will be with them in trouble. I will rescue and honor them. I will reward them with a long life and give them my salvation. We decided in January, we made the appointment to go ahead and have the tumor removed. I was admitted to Duke. They did the blood work, the EKG, all the crazy stuff that I'm always doing on everybody else, but now I'm the patient, which is completely odd. And got all that done, and I wanted all of our close friends to be there when the night before my surgery, so we could sit and just worship Jesus. It is pouring. It was the snow apocalypse of 2015. Snow coming down, ice. I mean, it was like the world is covered in white. And I'm like, you know what? They're probably not going to be able to make it to worship, and that's okay. We're still going to worship. And before I knew it, this whole lobby area was full of my closest friends wanting to come and worship Jesus with us before this huge night, this huge event in my life. I still remember to this day the faces, I remember the sounds, I remember the worship that we did, I remember the peace that passes all understanding that was filling that room and filling my heart.
And it was crazy because there was a young lady there whose husband had just had brain surgery that day. And she was walking by and listening to us sing, and actually requested that we sing Amazing Grace. And we started singing Amazing Grace, and she pulls her phone out and she starts recording it, and she's just crying and overcome with emotion because of her day and what she's been through, and she didn't have the support. She was alone by herself, and here we were with all of these people supporting us, encouraging us, this family, and we were able to be that for her. We were able to be a family to this woman who had no one, and strengthen her in her moment when she needed help.
Without any medication or anything, I was able to sleep through the night, and a few times when I would wake up, I would look over at Billy, because he stayed in the hospital room with me, and he was sleeping. It wasn't like we were, I'm not laying around thinking brain surgery, I'm going to get my head cut open or anything like that. It was just, there was so much peace. And again, I want to say it again, there is no peace that the world can give. No diagnosis that the doctor could have given me to give me peace. There's no gift anybody could have given me that gave me peace. The only peace, true peace, is through Jesus Christ and knowing Him. The next day I went in for surgery, and there was a lot that, even being a nurse, I didn't know was going to happen. You know, I don't really know how you can prepare someone for brain surgery. The recovery part of it has been extremely, extremely difficult. The blessing is I'm sitting here talking to you. Absolutely. And normal sentences, and
she can drive a car. She's gone back to work.
Yeah.
All of those things.
I'm working on people and actually saving lives, and being able to still love on my children and my closest friends. But I'm just so thankful and so blessed to be sitting here, and the fact that the tumor was completely removed and there was no cancer whatsoever in the tumor. All of these things are just huge blessings that we just thank the Lord for over and over. The adventure is not over for us. We are still in the midst of the day in and the day out trials that having brain surgery brings, and my body physically I'm not 100%, and so we continue to go through this, and we continue to seek the Lord every single day. How can we get through this, God, and how can you allow us to minister to others through this? How can we worship you through this? We want to continue to worship you through this. We want to be a light. We want to be an example, and we also want to draw close to the Lord and grow from Him.
And we appreciate y'all's support and encouragement. It's been felt in the prayers, and don't stop praying for Colin. Don't stop praying, because it's not over, and there's still many people to be touched, and still opportunities that we have each and every day through this scenario to make a difference in the lives of others. And so we want to take every opportunity, no matter what comes our way, and know that God wants to use it for His honor and glory to make a difference and to shine Jesus with everyone we come in contact with.